I'm sort of the only one dancing. There we go. We got some other motions going. What's up, guys? Welcome to another KSR Happy Hour. I am Tyler Thompson. I'll be your host today. I am joined by Zach Gagan. Oh, no, I did it wrong. Here we go.
Right.
And Nick Roush.
There you have it.
And yeah, there we go. I got it.
Yep, we got
You're
it.
echoey.
Yeah. Who is
Zach
that?
is?
Yeah, Zach is
yeah.
echoey.
Check the mic setup. Sometimes you gotta hit no, like the button. Put the microphone button, change it. There you go. Yeah. It's not it's our first time doing this. We've never done one of these before. So oh no.
Now we can't hear you.
You might just have to exit out and get back on.
What is happening?
Oh, there we go. Hey, we had it for a second.
Oh.
Oh no, now he's muted. Now he's muted. This is good theater.
Speak.
Huh? There.
You got to talk, Zach.
Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. Keep talking.
There
Yeah.
we go. You gave us a sentence.
Wait, but then he's
Nope.
Wait.
What is happening to me, Steven?
There we go.
Okay, now we can hear you. There we go.
Now you can? Okay.
Yeah.
We are off to a
Goodness
just
gracious.
a rousing start here on Happy Hour. I'm glad we got that figured out.
I had an
Fantastic.
AirPod issue a couple weeks ago too, where they just weren't working for a day, and then the next day they started working again. Technology is your friend until it just decides to not work when you need it to.
Until it's
But we're good,
not. Well,
right?
Good. We're good. We're golden. You sound crystal clear. It's fantastic.
Sweet.
So I feel like that opening minute and 48 seconds was kind of like Kentucky basketball in the transfer portal already. It's like we had
all
some
over
lows.
the place.
Yeah, we had some highs, we had some lows. Now we're rebounding. We're moving back up, right? Today feels better than yesterday. I mean, yesterday prior to Zoom Diallo committing, of course. Yesterday was a lot, guys. Have you guys recovered from it?
I have. I mean, I'll start here first, Nick. I think I was just happy to see a commitment finally come in. I think that settled the nerves a little bit, and now it just feels like the ball is rolling a little bit more. You've got the Colorado transfer, you've got the Furman transfer visiting today. You've got more visits on deck. Jacob Polchek just posted some scoop on another potential portal target over on KS Boards, so hop on over there if you want to go check that out. But yeah, so now the visits are starting to come in a little bit more. You finally got you got the main piece. It feels like you got your Zoom deal, you got your point guard, you got your PG1. He's immediately going to be better than any point guard situation you had last season. So you can lean on that a little bit more, knowing that at least that position is going to be in a better spot than it was last season, as long as he stays healthy, that is. But yeah, so it's nice to have a commit, and now you've got the visits coming. So this is where you got to build the momentum, Pope. Let's lock a couple more guys down, and let's really start rolling, building up this roster, because you got a lot of spots to fill still.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk more about Zoom Diallo in a little bit. Maybe the better comparison for the first minute and a half of the show would be your trip to Kroger this morning, Nick, because you've been teasing us about this all day. It's just how crazy this moment was in this story. And I've got images of what happened in my mind, and I'm really just hoping that your story lives up to it.
Yeah, I hope I haven't done the thing where I overpromise and underdeliver, but the little bit of backdrop to this story is that we were spring breaking around last week, really just visiting family while the kids were out of school. So you get out of your diet habits, you're in the car a lot, and so I'm like, all right, I need to hit the reset button. We're going to do a long fast. We're not going to eat for 3 days, which I've been told.
3 days?
Yes. I've been told that 3 days is the best possible for your body to hit the reset. I'd done one before. I normally just do the don't eat after 6 and then eat at lunch the next day. Skip breakfast. It's pretty easy.
That's normal. Yeah.
That's normal. Yes.
Yeah.
But the issue was when I tried to do this 3-day deal is that 2 days in, my buddy's like, oh yeah, I worked out while fasting all the time. You can do that. So I went to go for a run, and ever since then, my brain has been there was some moments of extra clarity where I've got good energy, but my brain is still just kind of all over the place. And this morning I was trying to not let my ADD impact me. Okay. I had a checklist of we need X, Y, and Z. I'm going on a golf trip this weekend. There's never done this before. We've scheduled this year out, right? I'm very fired up for it, even though there's some rain in the forecast on Saturday. Very excited. There's nothing like walking into load up on booze before a big boozing weekend, right? It's just you're fired up. So I'm there to get my beers and all of the other stuff that I'm going to take on this trip. But we need stuff for dinner tonight. Got to get some fresh produce for the kids, all that sort of stuff. And so my first mistake. I went to a different Kroger.
Rookie mistake.
I went to the Kroger by my parents' house. It's on the way home. Normally we just do the pickup there, but I'm like, it'll be easy. I'll just run in and out. And as KSR Happy Hour listeners know, I love my lemon and lime juice squirters.
Yes.
Love those.
About this.
Gotta have those when I'm making my cocktails.
You may have to fill
like
Zach
the ones
in.
that like look like little like plastic lemons with lemon juice in them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Very. You don't need to cut up the lemon each time. Just get the little squirt bottle and you're good to go. So I needed to get 2 of those, but that is it's typically in a kind of a weird spot, right? Like, what do you group it with? In my Kroger, it is always next to like the salad stuff where the produce is. Mm-hmm. Well, this Kroger is like a super duper de-duper Kroger, right? That's got like all of one. Yeah, it's got everything like the clothes and all that sort of stuff too. And it's a bigger produce section. So I'm walking around and I'm trying to like not make it obvious. I'm getting some stuff and I've got my head on a swivel. Keep looking around and I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's in the next aisle over where the drinks are. And I go down that aisle and finally I'm like, it's got to be by the produce. I'll go back to the produce. I take one more lap around. Then I see a Kroger employee, which there are few things more emasculating than having to ask for help at a store, especially a hardware store. Like you just give away your man card if you got to ask where something is in a hardware store, right? So I don't want to ask, but he's right there. I'm like, hey, man, I'm having a hard time finding the lemon and lime squirters. Do you know where they are? And he like looks at me first, like, what? And I'm like, oh, yeah, because I'm the only idiot who calls him that. Like lemon and lime juice. And he looks at me, and then he just goes and looks down, and right there, directly in front of where we are standing, they are right there. And I said, oh, God. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I got out of there so quickly. He was trying not to laugh in my face, so I thank him for that. But had
you checked that spot already?
I had checked the aisles, but it was at the end of an aisle.
Oh, okay.
An end cap. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so that kind of threw me off guard. But the part of this story, this is the part of the story I haven't told my wife yet. So let's keep this between us, okay? Whole point of this trip is to get my beer, right? Got to get your beer. So naturally I do that. But I had to get milk and things like that. So the beer went to the bottom of the shopping cart. Well, I'll go out the store. We're done for the day. But I'm a little scatterbrained. Like, there's stuff happening on my phone. And I'm like, well, did I get everything on the recipe? Because it's a crock pot thing. I've got a cream cheese at home. Do I need 2 cream cheeses? Do I need to go in and get another one? So I get my phone out. I check. Oh, damn it. I need to go get another one. So I shut the trunk lid. I push the cart back. Go back inside, get the cream cheese, whatever, drive home. And as I open up the trunk,
oh no,
no beer.
The beer was in the bottom of the grocery cart. It stayed there. We lost the beer. The whole trip just for nothing. First hour of the day, gone.
Well, did you get the beer back?
No, we did not get the beer back.
How do you even handle that situation? Can you just go back and be like, well, I left the beer in the shopping cart.
Can I get a free 24-pack? I swear to God, I bought it.
Yeah, I got home and it just wasn't in my van. Like, who's believing
what
that?
Happened?
Hey, someone looked into a free case of beers. What happens? They were like, oh my gosh.
That's true.
And
what beer was it? I gotta know.
Coors Light. That's just my easy. I need 30 of them for the weekend. So my dad was in the area. He was out and about. I was like, can you swing by and check out the little cart corrals and see if there's 30 rack around? He's like, I don't think those people were gonna let that out. That was like leaving out,
candy.
Yeah, for kids. Like it's just
Hopefully you just made some random like 20
Yeah.
I
something's
guarantee
day.
it.
You know?
is that the moral of the story? I'm getting good karma?
I think the moral of the story is people should not be afraid to ask for help in a grocery store,
Okay.
even if the thing they need is right in front of them and they had no idea. Like that's what I took away from it, because you're like, I don't know where it is, and I feel emasculated when I ask for help. As a woman, I'm like, whatever. That's what people are there for. I ask for help all the time. I'm like, I don't care if I don't know where things are. They work here. They're supposed to know. And my time is precious. So I'm just going to ask someone who would know, and then bam. But it is a little embarrassing that when you asked, it was literally right in front of you.
Yeah. Well, especially like it is very much a, I'd like to think I'm a modern man who doesn't abide by traditional stereotypes, but asking where things are, particularly directions. Like I'm the one who doesn't want to use GPS or maps. You know what I mean? Like I'm one of those. I want to know where I'm going. Like, yeah, you just I'm old school. Give me a map. I'll map it out.
Do you print it? Yeah. Do you print off the map quest? That's what my dad used to do when we would take our summer vacations, and he'd have 20 pages stacked up, and he would like flip through them while he's driving. Probably just as dangerous as looking at your phone, but.
We were go to the AAA and get the actual maps of the roads and then highlight the route, which I always enjoyed looking at as a kid, but you could never fold those maps back up.
Home Depot is one place where I'll immediately go in and just say, hey, can you tell me where to go? Because I'll spend an hour in there looking for, a light switch or something. And I'm not, once you go up and down a couple aisles, you're like, what am I doing here? Let's find somebody. But
well, and you're not all the way into home ownership, Zach, because like that I was after home ownership, there's like for the first year you're there and you go once a week to either the Home Depot or the Lowe's or the Ace or whatever your hardware store is. But there's also a cheat code now where if you look up like an app, or even if you just look online, they'll tell you down to the bay. They even have bays, so you get the aisle and the bay number to where you don't have to ask for help.
Fancy.
Yeah, we did that.
They're propping us up, making us feel good about ourselves that we know our way around the hardware store.
Well, I mean, no offense to you, but you're kind of propping this story up because I was expecting like a giant crash, like something that, fell into the floor and burst open and there's like beer everywhere. And really you just got embarrassed in the grocery store.
Well, and I think the other part of this too, that I'm admitting that I got embarrassed, and usually, it'll be like a KS board questions or something like that. I don't get embarrassed. I am a very team NF. Like they talk about like what makes you nervous. Very few things
nice.
would make me nervous, embarrassed. This one cut me deep. It got me. I had to hold an L today. Hopefully not holding any more L's this weekend. We did end up getting beer elsewhere, and it also made me realize that while I was flustered this morning, I also forgot I was supposed to go to the bank, so we forgot that too. Gotta get gambling money out. Need lots of signals.
Yeah. Another moral to this story, don't try to do a 3-day fast, or if you do, don't work out on said 3-day fast.
Yeah, right. Like, it's Derby season. I'm a little excited. I haven't slept much. Starting Sunday night, it's like every night at midnight, I'm just staring at the ceiling thinking about Derby.
How many days away are we?
I'd count by Saturdays. So we've got 2 Saturdays left to fill. We'll get there.
God bless Nick Roush.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited. So,
well, hopefully we'll be
quickly. The Derby horses are racing again. Sovereignty and journalism are racing again. It never happens. Fun. It's happening Saturday. So first time, basically in the history of horse racing. I mean, I didn't go back to the 30s, but Triple Crown rivals facing off as 4-year-olds. Saturday, 6:20. Oaklawn Park. I bet it'll be like FS1 or something, but it's just cool because like those were epic races. Sovereignty got scratched from the Breeders' Cup, so we didn't get the big rematch. Well, now we get a rematch. They're the 2 best horses in the field. It'll be fun to watch.
Sounds like a party. So, One day I will be as excited about something as Nick Roush gets about the Kentucky Derby, because I feel like I live vicariously through you during all this, and we've got plenty of time to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully we are that excited about this Kentucky basketball roster, which is currently being built. Like Zach said, we've got a one portal commitment so far in Zoom Diallo, the Washington point guard. He may not have been Kentucky's first choice, but I think he's a pretty good 1B or choice number 2, and Kentucky is efforting to build around him. So all the visitors on campus today, we think Freeman is off campus now, right? We think his visit has ended, but
Definitely.
we got Wilkins, the Furman point guard, Alex Wilkins, and Colorado forward Sebastian Rancic. Is it Rancic?
Probably Ranchik. It's
Rancic.
European,
Yeah.
So
we know they're on campus because they've been updating on social media. They took pictures in Rupp and in the locker room and all that fun stuff. We never really got confirmation on Jalen Cox. We know he was expected to visit today or yesterday. And then we've got a whole new crew of visits coming in this weekend. I guess it feels too quiet today. And it feels like, this is the ebb and the flow of the transfer portal. It gets everything happens all at once, and then it gets really, really quiet to the point where it makes you paranoid. So I feel like that's where I am right now. It's like, I know the minute I either get on to do a show or I leave the house, all of the news is going to break, to the point. Yesterday, I was in the middle of a run when Zoom Diallo committed, and the group chat lit up, and I had to stop and pull up, and you all didn't even say that he had committed. You were just like, unreal. This is wild. And I'm like,
well, because
tell me what happened.
Jack was at Texas Roadhouse. He said beforehand, he was like, I know this kid is going to commit while I'm out to dinner. So it happened while he was at Texas. That's why he said unreal, because he's like, he called it essentially. So he was rushing home. And if anyone was watching the Rapid Reaction last night, that's why we were about 10 minutes late, is because Jack was efforting to get himself home from hopefully a delicious Texas Roadhouse meal. I've been talking a lot about Texas Roadhouse lately in my own life, but I haven't gone lately. But that's a whole different story.
Can we get them to sponsor something? Because I would love to.
Awesome.
Hey, Rolls.
Rolls, yeah.
Went to an Easter party where they had Texas Roadhouse butter for it was sold as the cinnamon butter that you could have on your rolls at home, which is a great idea.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So, we got Diallo in the. It sounds like you really need to eat some food too. We've come back.
There is a weird, because normally 11 personnel will do at night, but I have the night shift, so that's normally hey, let's kill two birds with one stone. But I'm terrified of that anxiety, and just they always break around dinner time. That's kind of just the way it goes. But fortunately, it did break, because there was if not what sort of scenario.
Yesterday got really bad before that commitment. I think it was just the double punch of Tyron Stokes and Rob Wright leaving campus without committing, and then all of the Stokes or the Wright news kind of shifting in terms of national media reports. And then it was all of a sudden Wright's expect to go back to BYU, and then he announces that, and it just felt like, oh no, we've already got, I don't want to use the word, I'm not going to say the word whiff, but I'm going to use the word whiff. It was like there was a whiff, and then it just felt really desolate. But yeah, like you said, thank God they finally got a commitment, Zoom Diallo. And I think if Rob Wright had never been in the picture, I think Kentucky fans would be over the moon about Zoom. And I think that most fans seem to be, accepting it pretty well, even if he wasn't the first choice. I think he's a really good point guard. Like Zach said, he can get to the rim really well. It sounds like he's really good in pick and roll. The more I read about him, it sounds like his mid-range jumper is just really, really good, almost automatic. Maybe not the best three-point shooter, but improving. And I think as long as you surround him with some good shooters, I think it'll be fine. But kind of like you said, Zach, he's better than what we had this past year. Who knows, a healthy Jalen Lowe, if he would be better than that. But I've heard some comparisons to Lamont Butler. That sounds promising. So I also had to laugh in the comments section of Zoom Diallo's commitment post. It was like, he's got two healthy shoulders. That's a good start. So
well, speaking of comments under there, you had Tyron Stokes saying or congratulating him in the comments because they played a prolific prep together. I don't think that necessarily means anything, but I was actually just wrapping up my first full game watch of Zoom Diallo. I've just been sticking to highlights, so I've watched them play Iowa, and he had 10 assists and 9 points in the first half. a lot of lobs,
good.
like can pass over guys. Like he's a better passer than anyone Kentucky had on their roster last season. So I think that's immediately a big upgrade there. Yeah, like a mid-range assassin, like is just tall enough to get into the lane. He's really like determined to get to his spots. Loves to play in that pick and roll. Threw a couple of lobs like on baseline cutters, which I was like, how many times did we see a lob on this team at all last year? Like every time they tried to throw a lob, it felt like it was going over the backboard. So a lot of positive stuff there. I know there's some talk about his defense. I have a stat here. CBS Sports' Isaac Trotter has some data saying that Zoom Diallo as a defender on drives, he held opponents to 6 of 35 shooting. That's 17%. So there is some juice to the defensive side of the ball. I think the comparison to Otega Owe is honestly probably a little bit better than Lamont, just in terms of how they want to play. Like Diallo's just probably like he's better at the mid range. He's a better dribbler for sure, like much better with the handle. Otega's probably a better overall defender, but yeah, there's a lot of talk online about how Zoom is like a hard worker, like really wants to go out all the time. So that's the type of, there was concerns about effort all year or all season last in 24-25 or 25-26, I should say. So getting that type of feedback is always nice to hear. But yeah, like if Rob Wright was Rob Wright was who I personally would have preferred, but like you were kind of saying, it's more of like the drop off is not far at all between Wright and Diallo. So more than happy to see him kind of step in and be the guy. We'll see how that 3-point shooting continues to develop. He can get himself into weird situations when he's trying to get to that mid-range jumper where he can kind of turn the ball over a little bit, but he's a point guard, turnovers are going to happen. So he's a little audacious with that, but by all things considered, I think he's perfectly suitable to be Kentucky's PG1. But yes, you do have to have some shooters coming in around him, because him and Malachi together already puts you at a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of how you can space the floor. But I do think Zoom's gravity as a passer will help open things up a little bit, because he can take guys off the dribble, drive and kick, things like that. It shouldn't be a huge negative, but you definitely want to try and get some shooters around him.
And there's nothing. Yeah, I was going to pivot to you anyway, Nick. There's nothing everybody loves more, especially you, than a pun. So having a point guard with the name Zoom is going to be awesome. Like you can even use the little like car emoji to like tweet about him. It's great. I love it.
I go back to Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
Oh my God, what a throwback.
Zoom, 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 make my heart go boom, boom, boom. My Supernova Girl. That was a huge deal as a 90s kid. Disney Channel original movie came out because you could win a trip to space camp when it came out. And we all know how space camp was a big deal. So here's the thing. I try to not check all the way in during some of the portal because people just infuriate me to no reason. And it's happening in the comment section right now. There is a group of people that is watching us right now that is getting irritated that we are not saying that Zoom Diallo was Kentucky's first option. Mark Pope tried to recruit over him. They brought in another point guard after Zoom visited. Zoom Diallo almost didn't come to Kentucky because of this. That almost happened. He was clearly not the first choice. What do you want? Get your heads out of the sand, okay? I'm not here to tell you whether one is better than the other, but come on. We don't need Mark Pope to give us scoop to know that he wasn't at the top of their big board. His actions speak for it. What?
The chat has been interesting so far today. People were very upset that we weren't leading off with a bunch of transfer portal.
We had to tell Nick's story. You
haven't been watching the happy hour show, if that's what you were expecting coming in. This is not sources say or
right. And the other part of it is it's been so tense around here. We need to get a little silly. So allow me to get silly for just a little bit more for a moment, because Matt had the conversation on the radio show today, and I want to reiterate it in another light. When he was talking about hey, in the absence of news or information, people will say whatever. Mark Pope whiff is a real problem that he's dealing with, and he could fix it if he just talked to people. Magoon Guad, I don't think was a whiff at all, but people were going to say that.
Yeah. They
need to communicate when they're not recruiting somebody. You don't have to tell Zach or Jack or Jacob, we're trying to get XYZ, because here's the thing. Sometimes it happens in football recruiting. If it gets on the radar, it might get out, it might get spoiled, you might be cooked. There was a kid like that last year that they went on a point guard. Do you remember who that was, Zach? or it might have been year one because it was why they were so quiet about Lamont. Like I think they missed on somebody, and then they just showed up, and Lamont Butler was like, "I want to play in Kentucky," and he committed. They did that strategy, but particularly for the quote unquote misses, like what is Magoo going to do if you're going to get Freeman or Stokes? Sit the bench. You've already got Cam Williams. Cam Williams is just an offensive version of Magoo. I think if I'm going to just do my 10,000 feet observation of anything, is that I really like Wilkins. Wilkins was a guy that people were texting you during the NCAA tournament. Hey, we need to get this kid in the portal. And I was just like, really, we're doing this? But like, also, actually, I'm kind of for it. 2, I just only shooters from here on out. Shooters. If you get Stokes, cool. Shooters. Because what did last year's team lack that the first team did not have? It's shooting. And Diallo's not bringing it. You're not obviously going to get it from Malachi. Cam will bring some of that, but you lost Chandler. Like shooters. Get them, fill them up, whatever it may be, whatever you got to do. You need to get shooters. And frankly, that just hasn't been something talked about a lot. And I'm a little worried that the supply is not very high in this edition of the transfer portal for whatever reason, particularly from that shooting guard standpoint or just shooting standpoint.
Well, they're also not really targeting those guys either. Of the select few that are, 40+% guys, they're not really going after many of them. The one guy they are kind of looking at that I think Joe Tipton reported last night that they're kind of looking at the Hofstra guard, Cruz Davis. So I'm almost finished writing a big bio blast thing on him. He shot 40% from 3 last year, CAA Player of the Year. Like 6 attempts per game from 3. So he's expected to visit soon. He's probably the only guy so far they've really looked at. I think one of the Terrences is a really good shooter as well. I think it's might not be Terrence Brown, it might be Terrence Hill. One of those two kids is a good shooter. But Cruz Davis is a really good shooter. These are guys that you'd probably pencil in as like one of the first guys off the bench to come in and just shoot a bunch of threes. So I don't know. There's no confirmed visit date for that, but that's definitely a guy that you're interested in. If he gets on campus, that's, significant interest or mutual interest there. So he's someone that you probably want to keep an eye on as well as like an actual real deadly shooter that they're going to try and go after. Steven has our graphic up right here. Canva Pro over here. Tyler Thompson is crafted this one together.
Yeah, it's been a little modified, so I'm having fun looking at it in this. But yeah. I think the last, and I won't make Steven confess to this, but I feel like the last time we did the show and we showed the portal graphic, he may have used AI to modify that image because some of the little pictures didn't look exactly right. Steven, am I right about that?
Yeah, we're using Canva's AI to make it 1920 by 1080 because we have the long graphic. So yeah,
okay.
That.
But I feel like it gave Cam Williams a mustache last week, and I was a little suspicious. Yeah, it is interesting. Like. I'm very suspicious of AI with like photo modifications. I don't know. It's weird, but we could throw that graphic back up there if we want. But yeah, I think Wilkins seems to be the one that everybody wants right now, just because he's a proven scorer. I mean, and he can score in a number of
NBA
ways.
Draft potential is why people are really excited about him. And I mentioned on the Rapid Reaction last night that the website I use a lot that I pay for to try and get like advanced stats and analytics and stuff, CBB Analytics, the second most common comp for Zoom Diallo was Alex Wilkins. And they're obviously not one-to-one comparisons, but I think it's a similar archetype of what Pope is looking for. Kind of bigger-ish guards, creators, guys who can get in the paint, score in the paint, and pass the ball really well. And they can pass, dribble, shoot is kind of what I was getting at. And Wilkins kind of fits that mold really well. It definitely has the NBA potential there. So you can kind of it makes sense that Pope would really try and focus in on him. I do think Wilkins is probably very, very high on their big board, if not like the very top right now in terms of, guys that haven't already visited. So if you can lock him down, he's got a lot of suitors coming after him, but he would be a huge add and probably a guy that you could maybe I kind of assumed he would be like the starting 2 guy next to Zoom Diallo. But I saw Brandon Ramsey put something, maybe he'd be like the 6th man or something is what he was saying on Twitter. So still kind of like he'd play 25 minutes a game type thing. So yeah, he's very talented and he's on campus right now along with Rancic.
I'll be curious to see how they're selling this to him because I mean, Wilkins could have other teams giving him the starting point guard spot. Is he going to want to come to Kentucky to be a 2 guard and maybe while Diallo's out, play the 1. Is he going to want to come off the bench as the 6th man? I don't necessarily know, but if the money is right, it may not matter. So
And
I think that'll be
Pope's
interesting.
system, you can be the 6th and 7th man and still play 25 plus minutes. Ortega and Aberdeen and Colin Chandler had to play all those minutes last year because there really wasn't any other options. So if he can load up on guards, which I feel like he's definitely going to do, like he's not going to try and get himself in a situation like last year where he was just kind of stuck with the weird guard rotation that they had. So he's going to load up on those guys and probably try and spread the love a little bit in terms of the minutes.
It is just I'm hopeful that by this time next week we don't feel like we're in such a pressure cooker. Because
a lot of spots to fill.
Well, and like the way that I'm in the war zones, in the trenches for the football portal, so that's the only kind of comps that I have. But in the football's case, they have that first weekend and they hit the ground running, like Sam Levitt's on campus, and then there's all of these kind of big names like CJ Baxter, and then commitments start to follow. The difference is that there's just a higher volume of players, so they're going to obviously you need to kind of get those commitments rolling earlier, whereas like basketball you can't just load up because they might not even be your best guys if you take them all too early. But I think the real issue is just that that big day that we had everything teed up for, it was a big day, but there wasn't like an actual event. Like we got an Instagram live of Stokes. And then also the other part of it is that I think in a lot of people's minds, they assumed when he made this sort of abrupt announcement that he was visiting, that meant a decision was coming soon, without remembering who Tyrone Stokes is. And Tyrone Stokes,
he can commit right now.
Yeah, like
it could be a month from now.
Yeah, like my nice way of putting it is he beats to the beat of his own drum, but like that guy just kind of does what he wants, like it is a very old school recruitment. And if you notice in those old school recruitments, they all were committing in like June and May. Like I remember, another Derby thing, but like I remember getting service out of the infield tunnel, and it's like Kevin Knox committed. Like that was like that was a big surprise back in the day. But like Jamal Murray, he didn't commit until that was very late.
He was the summer, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think didn't they like miss out on a point guard or lost a point guard or something like that? I kind of forget the exact situation there.
Yeah,
Murray was like a late
weird
find because he was a late riser. Like he didn't blow up until I think the Nike Hoop Summit, which happened this past week. So think of the timeline. Like he didn't get big until middle of April of his senior year of high school.
Well, and that's just I have no confidence in what Tyrone Stokes is going to do next. I am operating under the assumption that Kentucky will not have him, because if he really wanted to do it, he would have just done it already. Like everything is teed up where it's like the perfect match, but he's just not jumping at it. So like, I'm not going to get my hopes up in the slightest. But I will say it is good to have a little bit of reassurances just from having one guy, and you have a point guard who is a decent player. I still don't. I don't have a strong sense of belief that it's going to be a great roster next year, because you lost Chandler, who is hoping to be a big role. Now you got Cam. You got the other two back that I really wanted, but I don't have a strong belief. I think that's stirring some of the anxiety. Do we have more confidence now that Zoom is in the fold, or is that just simply a sigh of relief, Tyler? Are you more confident in the roster that Pope's assembling?
I do. I feel feel a lot better now that Zoom's on board. I think a week ago we were all talking about Zoom because he was getting ready to take his visit, and that's before Rob Wright had really kind of gotten into our minds yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was all in on Zoom then, and I'm all in on him now. Would I like him to be a slightly better 3-point shooter? Sure. But as long as you've got shooters around him, and I mean, people forget Cam Williams made 8 threes in one game this past season. So
people do forget that.
So yeah, hoping that Cam continues to take another step forward and stays healthy. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good that the first player that you get from the portal is a point guard too, because you can build around him. So it's a good step one. I think to calm the fan base down more, you need a good step 2 and 3, and you need them soon. Like, I think we just need it. These kids have got to commit on the visits. Like the minute they leave, you get a little bit worried. Like Freeman, they have left town already. Is he going to go to UConn for a visit? I don't know. I mean, you've got Wilkins. He's got a lot of people after him. Same thing with Ranchik. Terrence Brown comes on Friday. Ton of big schools are after him. Cruz Davis, we haven't heard a date yet. But we just need Pope to get rid of this he can't close narrative. I mean, if he can just get a couple of these guys to commit while they're on their visits, that will quiet down a ton. And I think it'll get the fan base back on board. Not if they're not already. I think people have been mostly receptive to the Zoom Diallo commitment, at least as far as I've seen.
I just am glad that Jack and Jacob are receiving some vindication, at least a little bit in that regard. Because that was the weird part of their big story. Everybody just focused on the JMI stuff, but nobody really paid attention to the part where it was like, yeah, he's not good at closing deals.
Right.
Which a GM, that's what they help do. Yeah.
That's all they do. They all think about it nonstop. And what team has not one, not two, but 3 or 4 or 5 GMs is the Kentucky football team, and they are crushing it on the recruiting trail. We'll shift a little bit. I know you guys just talked about this on 11 Personnel, and you all should all go watch. But just a brief run through, because, Kentucky football got another commitment today. And anytime you flip an Auburn commit, that's usually a pretty good thing because Auburn gets pretty good players. I also love this because it's another cool name, Tank Proctor. What a name.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's a Tank.
We know that Tank is that a nickname or is it actually his first name? Because if it's actually his first name, I'll love it even more.
We'll just say it's his real name. I love the fact that he told Steve Wiltfong that he was on high flip alert.
We have entered that era of college sports.
Yeah, which is very, very amusing to me. But that's 2 players in a week that Kentucky beat Auburn for, because he was committed to Auburn.
Yeah.
The other player, Elijah Brown, I believe, I think I'm getting the name right. Am I getting the name right, Zach?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 Elijah Browns now. There's already one on the current football roster.
I know, yeah. Brown. So and then I know an Elijah Brown too, so I get confused. And I know a Justin Weeks in Kentucky's recruiting a Justin Weeks as well. So it's very a lot of, believe me, brain is just all over the place lately. But that's a guy that Elijah Brown's a 4-star from Alabama that Kentucky won a head-to-head with against Auburn. And really my just biggest takeaway from the last week is that they did show that they can close on some of these guys. Because it's one thing if you get them all here, right? Like we were getting scooped by our own people we work with at Rivals, where seriously, Tyler, there was a point where I was like, I can't, Wilfong's doing my job for me, so I guess I got to write about something else. But that was how the last couple months they've been living, where it's just all of these top 300 4-star blue chip guys are coming in, and 5 of the top 10 quarterbacks in the class are all interested to see what Will Stein and Joe Sloan are going to do. All right, but it's one thing to get them on a visit, but can you get it across the finish line? And Jake Nalrot is really going to get this recruiting momentum wave rocking and rolling. The second-ranked quarterback according to Rivals. There was some rankings confusion because we have the Rivals ranking, and then we have the industry ranking, which is all of them. And ESPN didn't update their rankings until today. So when we had a commitment today, and Kentucky was 21, but the ratings were updating, and then they jumped up to 17 because Narod is now a top 60 overall guy, which, by the way,
pretty good.
ESPN recruiting, what
are they doing?
Yeah,
nothing
I
is the
haven't
answer.
looked at their recruiting rankings. I know they're especially not good in football, but they used to be, it felt like, the go-to for basketball recruiting rankings, and now I don't even think about it.
They call their women's basketball rankings the Hoop Girls, GURLZ. It is the most patronizing thing. What? I digress. Point being, to kind of compare the GM stuff, there is it's especially necessary in football. Maybe you can get away with it in basketball because of the sheer volume, but the amount of moving parts that are in a modern football organization, it's a lot. So Will Stein had hired some really good people to help manage it for him. We all know Pat Biondo is a general manager. Pete Knox is assistant general manager, but Jerry McElwain, he is the son of Jim McElwain, former Florida coach, but he cut his teeth working for Harbaugh at Michigan, and then got on with DeBoer at Washington and spent the last few years at Alabama, and now he's director of player personnel at Kentucky. And then they went and hired the woman who started the Portal House down at Tulsa last year. And I forget the exact role, exactly what her title is. But there's a lot happening to make all of these visits work, to be able to get, like, they got a top 5 running back in the country. A lot of people think he's going to Miami, but they snuck him on the campus for a 2-day visit, and he was hanging out at Keeneland. People spotted him, sent me a picture. I mean, top 5 running back in the country. Like,
it's crazy.
These guys are serious recruiters, and the Kentucky brand is not deterring them from going out and taking the swings on the best of the best of the best.
So you're telling me you don't have to just focus on JUCO players?
It's crazy, right?
Isn't that wild? I mean, you were talking about like top 5, running backs. For me, it's just the optics of, we see these graphics on social media all the time. It's like the top 5 quarterbacks who have committed to a school in the 2027 class. That came out yesterday. Narwhal was number 1, and there was a UK logo next to his name. And it took me a minute. I was just like, that's it. I'm still getting over it. Like, it's just really cool. So I'm super happy for Stein. He's killing it. He's already, it feels like, I know he hasn't won or lost a game yet, and that's part of it. But it feels like he's making Kentucky cooler just by stuff he wears. Like, I'm paying attention to stuff he wears in press conferences. He had a hoodie on earlier this week or Saturday or something, and it had like the retro Wildcat under the Kentucky word mark. And then it had the Power K on the sleeve. And I'm like, and it's a Nike shirt. I'm like, does this mean we're getting more Power K gear? I mean, please.
They take it. I mean, he is so into retro logos that if you attend a practice, you get like a pass. Well, like when we went for 30 minutes, the media, we got like the boring one. If you were a guest, though, they were varying iterations of old UK logos. So some of them had Power Ks on them. One of them, the Wildcat that's like elongated from the 70s. It's like, it was like wrapped around the pass and like had like a blue shininess to it that reflected the light. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And they are very detail oriented at Stein's program. And if you talk about just the general excitement, I think the only box, like they've checked almost every box from if you are a diehard KS board Kentucky football fan who eats up recruiting, they're eating it up, right? They're serving it up on a platter for you. You're getting all the updates you want. They're good. And if you're a general fan who's just like even if you don't get in the recruiting, but you're online, you're seeing Stein do all these interviews, and the way he communicates, I think, is incredibly important too. He's like, let's score some freaking points, man. He sounds like a guy you'd sit next to in the stands, which I think that's incredibly important too. Like, you feel pretty connected to him. But I think the one exception is one that hopefully changes on Saturday, and that's just like people just want to see these guys, and they want to know more about Kenny Minchey. We've seen a couple interviews with him, but I think that's the last piece of the puzzle. But, a lot of that is then you get into like football coaches. They like to keep their cards close to the vest when it comes to stuff like that. So that's one where they're a little pumping the brakes on. But everything else, man, like, doesn't it feel like Will Stein is doing an interview with one of the like every week? It's,
it's hard to keep up with. It's like there were 2 or 3 of them that dropped, I think, sometime last week on like Thursday. And I started to round them up, and sure, some of the content overlaps. Like, he'll say same thing in a couple interviews, but trying to find the nuggets of the new stuff. It's awesome. It's fun. It's like you were talking about, Steve Wiltfong. It feels like he's doing our job. The amount of updates I'm seeing from Wiltfong and all of the national guys, it's crazy on Kentucky. So exciting stuff. And you're right. On Saturday, some of us will get to see them. So if you are going to Kroger Field for the spring game, you can watch the spring game. Otherwise, you will be in the dark. SEC Network's not streaming it. I don't think many spring games are streamed anymore, which seems crazy. Because it feels like that was such a trend forever. It was like every SEC spring game will be on the SEC Network. That was maybe 2 years ago, it felt like.
Yeah, and, the spring portal kind of scared them away from it. I think it just gave them an excuse to take them off the air.
Yeah.
A little surprised that you don't have Tom Leach doing a like play-by-play of it because, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you're
feel
not,
like why are they not even trying that? It feels like there has to be some rights usage or something, but it's not being shown on TV. So it's just weird that there's no radio broadcast of the actual game.
well, especially because even if they get to parts where a game isn't happening, you have Pecoro there, you bring Stenberg up, and you just do like, here's a 2-hour radio broadcast of us just talking about how great Kentucky football is. But if the show goes on, which I am saying if, because Luckett was there talking to Stein today, and he is what I don't think the weather's going to be that bad. But they're like, well, if the weather is bad, we'll just cancel it. So
is there the slightest chance of lightning within 100 miles of Kroger Field from any point to any point on Saturday?
I will say, Peak, was the Southern Miss game the low light of your career as a person in media?
It just felt like it took forever to get the season started. I was not happy that night, but they still scored like 31 points, something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
31-0.
It's one of the highlights of the season.
We had the light show going on while fans were just cheering, waiting for the game to start. That was the weirdest. It was similar to the baseball game against LSU in the Super Regional, where LSU didn't want Paul Skeens to start and not finish, so they had a weather delay when it was sunny outside. It felt like that at Kroger Field because you couldn't even like see the lightning in the distance, but they were like, it's on the radar. I just wanted to remind people about how dumb of a 4-8 season that was, that it started.
Well, and we can't pull it up now unless somebody has it saved, but that picture of Steven just looking miserable on the field, like I'll always remember that, like just laying there, just looking sad. So hopefully Saturday won't be like that. Hopefully it'll be a really exciting day at Kroger Field. I was kind of fascinated by the scoring system that came out today. So it's not just touchdowns, field goals, extra points that will count. If you get a 2-point conversion from the 10-yard line, it will actually be 4 points, which I think is kind of cool. The defense will get 6 points for turnovers, 1 point for forced punts, and 3 points for 3 and outs or turnover on downs. So I guess my question is, I'll start with Zach. What do we set the over-under at for points in this game? Like total points between the two teams.
I really don't know. Like how long do we know how long this game's going to be?
15-minute running clock first half, 12-minute running clock second half. So not long at all.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the point system is I feel like it would take a lot to get a lot of points actually. So I mean, maybe like 100 total would be my over under, something like that. Right. That might even be way too high. Like maybe like 70 would be a better pick for that. Because really, like touchdowns and turnovers is how you're going to get all your points. It looks like.
Well, and also it'll be 5 possessions maybe total.
Yeah.
I mean, unless here's the other thing too. This is supposed to be fun. They might just go long. We're gonna chuck it a bunch. So it could just be the offense.
Awesome.
The offense scores 60 points, which I would be totally for. Kenny Minchie, pretty fun to watch play the position of quarterback. And the good news is he's not going to get hit, so you can keep him in a little bit longer and let him show off for the fans.
That's true. So I looked it up. We are getting 4 15-minute quarters, but the second half could be a running clock. So
okay,
it'll be a little bit longer. So in that case, I would take the over on 100 points, but still, it'll be fun. And even if you're not there, we will have live updates on KSR and KS Board. We'll have highlights. I don't know how much highlights we can show, but we will show what we can show, and it'll be awesome. So looking forward to it. Nick, are you going to be trying to keep up while on your golf trip? Are you going to be refreshing KS Board while you're in between holes?
I'm taking the weekend off. I
didn't know. Like, do you ever feel like? I don't know if I would feel a pull to check it or not. Like,
well, it is different. So, like, when I took like 2 or 3 days off last week, and we're just hanging out with the kids, like, I'm going to get bored and get on my phone some. But this is I don't want to be on the internet for a few days sort of deal. So, I'll like hit the retweet on some KSR tweets or something. But as long as nobody gets hurt, which Lance heard he's getting a minor procedure or something, so he's not going to play, which is kind of a shame. He's Kentucky's highest paid player, left tackle, starting left tackle, all SEC left tackle from Tennessee last year. So that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, I'll watch the highlights definitely, and then I'll kind of do my thing where once everything's over, I'll try to soak in as much information as possible from the spring game. But some people when they take off Tyler, they have trouble with taking off. I don't anymore. I'm like,
I could see you not having
Well, because I need it. Like it's like if I don't do it, then you got to have some no internet time, or else you go crazy, especially in the portal. Portal makes us all a little nuts,
The portal turns you into a different person. I think there were points this week where it's like I was just at my computer and it was like I didn't know what day it was. It was too quiet. I'm like, why isn't anything happening? What am I doing? I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And then it all hits, and then it just it feels like the world is crashing down.
It's wave and then nothing and then another wave. And then the other part too, like in football, it's the volume thing. We're like football, it's like you're just trying to figure out X, Y, and Z is visiting. Here, we're trying to figure out if we know if they have left or not, which I'm like, okay, I think we're asking too much. Like, we don't need people stationed at the airport to know when they're getting in and out and off the plane. Say
that, I bet everybody in that comment section would want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I got really irritated when we had Mark Pope as welcoming people to their flight thing. What was that, 2 years ago?
Oh, when you met him at the airport.
That was just that made me so mad. Like, guys, this is how it works. Like, why are we making a big deal out of this?
We got some good comments.
I would like to make one more statement before we answer questions too. I don't want to say my indifference, but like, Mark Pope is like, he's making his bed and he's going to have to lie in it. So like, there are a lot of like manic up and down. Like the results in the fall, he's building this team now. And if they don't win, he's not back. Like he's going to have a new boss who's not going to put up with it. So like it's put up or shut up time. So like sweating every single second of what they're doing feels like a very useless anxiety for me. So I'm kind of at peace with it, right? Like spring is sprung. We're not going to like kill ourselves over every visit, because if this guy is bad, well then Mark Pope's fired. Like it's we got a new coaching search next year, and if he's good, well then we'll have some fun and we'll do this thing again. But I think that it is. I'm a little. I think it's perplexing that he's not. The lack of shooters thing, Zach, that he's going to creators this year. Like he's not doing what year one was. He's doing something different again. And that makes me think that he's in his head again. And that's,
yeah.
Well, you look at a team like Michigan that was just kind of overwhelming size, not like a terrific-ish three-point shooting team. They won the title. But then you also look at Florida. They couldn't shoot a lick, and they had a bunch of big guys, and they lost in the second round. So, I mean, it is kind of an interesting – it does feel like he's leaning too far away from what was working in year one.
Well, and that he's leaning too far away from his system, which is what he did last offseason too. It's like, I know that the tournament proved that big, size and big guys matter and rebounding and all that. But Pope tried that last year. He tried it with physical, tough guys like Mo Diabate, and it didn't work.
It doesn't happen if you can't coach to that player. Like, you know what I mean? Like Mark Stoops could have Kenny Minchie as his quarterback, but it ain't going to make him good because he doesn't know how to do offense. Like these sports.
Well, if Michigan didn't have Elliot Cadeau or Morez Johnson, the same way Kentucky didn't have Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance, things are obviously a lot different. So I always have to give Pope a little bit of grace with the injury issue, because that was just totally. I mean, it was a mess last season. Like it was tough. I still think they should have done better than what they did, all things considered. But yeah, the rosters. I mean, if he builds kind of a similar roster to last season with just like maybe a little bit elevated talent and no one gets hurt, like the results are going to be a lot different than last season. Like they'll probably make a deeper run. So. But yes, it is. I would like to see them get a couple shooters. I think they need at least two more high level shooters, like guys that just come in, you can play 15, 20, 25 minutes a game, whatever it is, guys that just shoot close to 40% from three and could just come in, and you have to respect them. And that's going to open things up so much more for Zoom and Malachi and whoever else is in that fold, especially if you get Donnie Freeman. Like if Donnie Freeman's coming in to start, you've got 3 non-shooters, 2.5, I should say, because Freeman and Diallo are kind of half shooters, so you can kind of talk yourself into that being 2.5. But yeah, you're already kind of looking at a spacing disadvantage. So, but maybe that's not what the analytics are saying. So I mean, who am I to say? Like, I'm just sitting here and he's making $5 million a year.
We're talking about a child's game where you put a ball through a hoop, like, and so in that regard, some of it does come down to having your best players be healthy. He's had terrible luck with that.
I mean, imagine it's like, well, never mind. I'm not even going to speak it.
We don't have to go down that road. But the other part of it is too, if it's so simple, then how do you just get shellacked so often? That's the part of Pope I can't figure out. Like,
well, it went back to his time at BYU too.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been down 20 points in half the games that they were in, no matter what. Like even with the injury situation, they should not have just like been able to They should not have been pooping down their pants against like mediocre teams like very early on in games and having to fight big props and respect for being able to coach his teams back and stuff like that. But there were times where like Gonzaga game you saw like. Or once you get down too much, like if Jasper Johnson doesn't score 7 points in like a couple minutes on the road against Tennessee, Kentucky's probably down by 26, 27 points at halftime, and they're going to lose that game by 30. But instead, you just get these small pockets that allow him to just have enough little wiggle room. But that's not a strategy you can rely on to win long term and go deep in the tournament. So that was my frustrations with the injuries happened, but you still just can't get down 20 points against every good team you play.
And even the bad ones too,
and that did happen in the first year too.
Right. Well, before we shift to KS Board questions, a question for both of you: what will be higher by the time Nick gets back from his golf trip? The number of portal commitments between now and then, or the number of football commitments between now and then? So this is, are we going to call it Monday night or Tuesday morning when you log back in?
I think you would do Tuesday morning because the commitments always happen at night. So you want to give yourself a chance for a weekend visitor to commit on Monday night. Oh, man, that's a good question because the problem with the football ones is like we don't have good time frames on them. Like I'm pretty sure Kentucky's going to get a commit. Like I feel good about one player, but I think he's waiting past the weekend. I'm going to say basketball. I think Kentucky football gets 2 and basketball gets like, oh, man, I don't know.
It has to be basketball. The answer, it has to be basketball.
From a timeliness standpoint,
Right. Yeah. I mean, even though the portal closes on Tuesday, players still have as long as they want once they're in it to commit. So it's not like things have to be set by Tuesday, but certainly has to be more movement.
Yeah, and by the time Tuesday morning rolls around, you're going to have, at that point, the basketball team is going to have 10 guys that have visited at that point. Like, I'm sure another couple of visitors will be added. And if you don't have 2 or 3 more guys by Tuesday morning, it's like,
what are you doing?
What's kind of going on? Because then by that point, the portal will be, the portal closes on Tuesday. Obviously, they don't have to commit by then. You can still you can take your time. But yeah, like by that point, the 21st is when the board is what the board is. Like no new guys can go on it. So if half the visitors that are coming into Lexington between now and Tuesday morning don't commit to Kentucky, then your big board's already kind of cut in half. And so it has to be basketball. It has to be. They probably, this is a pure guess. I don't have any names of what I would say, but I'd guess 2 to 3 portal commits by Tuesday morning. And I think that's kind of on the conservative side too. You probably need a little bit more than that. But we'll see. Like the portal can go on forever. Like Yelovich committed randomly. I feel like he committed in May, maybe of last year.
He committed when Luckett and I
Brandon
were
Garrison, I think, announced he was coming back on the same day, something like that.
It was weird because like Luckett and I had to post it on a Saturday after maybe a football camp. Like we were at KS Bar and we're like who the hell is this guy? Like, and we're like the only pictures we could find were all like pixelated and stuff. That was
Yeah, that's a good reminder that international guys can come whenever. Yeah. So,
and I think they're up to 6. I think they have 6 locked in right now with Diallo. I'm trying to think if you count Reese Potter. Let me do it right now. Reese Potter, Mason Williams, Cam, Malachi, Zoom, Trent Noah. That's 6. Am I forgetting anyone there? That's officially confirmed. I think just those 6.
I don't think so.
So that's 6 right there. So you need another. I mean, you need 6 more guys at least. So you kind of gotta. You can't go into June or May hoping to bank on international kids. So I do think there's a little bit of a sense of urgency, and I'm not at the point of worrying about that. But the weekend will be big because if Tuesday morning rolls around and you haven't landed some of these guys, then that would be a little bit concerning. Yes.
Well, fingers crossed. All right, let's do some KS board questions. Let's see. I think some of them had to do with the portal, so maybe we'll even do some overlap.
Portaling.
All right, Finnego Ham says, if KSR the movie was about to start filming, who do you think should play the roles of each person?
I'm bad at this one because
I had a good one for Jacob the other day. It's the guy on SNL.
Oh yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. The redhead
Ben Marshall.
Yeah. That's my pick for Jacob. So.
I think this exercise is more of just a who do we look like?
Right.
Right.
Shane, we could do Shane Gillis for Luckett, maybe.
Yeah. I always thought that Jason Segel was my spirit animal, but we don't have we look nothing alike. But his over the top animated goofiness, it feels very similar. We're both big guys. That's the other part too. The KSR intelligentsia, I don't know why I use that word. We are a large group of humans.
That's true. There's 15 of us. You're just talking about in terms of size, height.
Well, Jack's 6'3", I think, something like that. Yeah, Jack's big. Yeah. Matt's 6 whatever. Drew's tall.
I'm 5'3" 3/4. So
what kid he said that he met somebody and they were like, dude, you're big. I thought you were a little guy. And it's well, he's always standing next to I'm really tall. Everybody is do we have a must be 6'2" or over requirement that you put in, Tyler? So you could be
I don't know, but I feel so
Jacob does not fit that one.
Yeah. I feel short anyways, but whenever I'm around you all, it's glaring. It's me, Ryan Lemon, Jacob, and then we look up and it's the rest of you guys. So.
We need to do the Ian Rappaport thing. He gets a box to stand on, so he doesn't. It's the same as other people.
Well, we'll keep thinking on that one, Fan of Good Ham. That was a good one. All right, what's next? B Clay 4 UK says, why do you really think it's taking Stokes so long to decide? Is it the Nike connection or something else? I think it's just Tyron Stokes being Tyron Stokes personally.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in a rush to make this decision. If you listen to Kristen Peak, who's probably as plugged in on his recruitment as anybody, he wants to see the roster construction. He wants to see what Kansas's roster looks like and Kentucky's looks like by the end of the portal. But I don't know if Kentucky has the luxury of just waiting for him to decide. I think that maybe it sounds like they're just going to take that risk and just save a spot. And if he wants to come. But I just think that's a big risk to be taking ahead of a make or break season. So I will say, as excited as we were when he went on Instagram Live at Rupp Arena, if he goes to Kansas, that video is going to hit a lot different. It's going to be man, he had a private late night shoot around by himself in Rupp. And we all thought in the moment that he was coming, and no. So I don't know. Do either of you all have any insight here on Tyron Stokes, Zach?
Well, I definitely think Nike is playing a factor into it all.
Sure.
I think they would 1,000% rather have him go to a Nike school, and I would imagine they're probably trying to push for that. Whether it's Kentucky. Oh, shout out to a super chat there.
Woo!
But if I were Tyron, I would be waiting. I would wait until all the rosters are put together. Sorry if you're trying to, pitch other kids, whether or not I'm going to be on the roster or not in terms of the portal. Sorry for your luck. I'm the best player available, essentially. If you put me on the portal rankings, I'd be top 5, probably, top 3 at that point, maybe even number 1. Hell. So, if you're Mark Pope, we saw this happen last year. He got a Caden Lewis. Caden Lewis was kind of expecting to be PG1. I don't think Mark Pope wanted him to be PG1, so he went and over-recruited him, brought in Jalen Lowe, and then, Caden Lewis left. So, if you're Pope, don't be afraid to go try and find another Caden Lewis, a guy that you think can fit in your system. And then a month later, if Tyron Stokes says, hey, I want to come in and play those guys minutes, okay, you're in. I mean, maybe that's different because the portal, you're kind of locked in. You can't just decommit if you're a Caden Lewis could. But sorry, that's just Tyron Stokes is that good that if push comes to shove and it's a month from now and you've got your roster built, like, sorry, whoever is slotted to be the starting small forward, like, now you're going to the bench. Like, you're still going to make a bunch of money that we already paid you, but sorry, now you're playing on the bench and Tyron Stokes is the guy. Like, so I mean, if I were Tyron, I would be doing probably similar stuff. Like, there's no reason for him to commit at any point soon. There really isn't. So, but yeah, Nike's definitely pushing him to a Nike school, but there's a lot of factors that go into the mind of Tyron Stokes that I don't really want to try and figure out.
He's just a lot. Like, that's just, if he comes here, he's shown us throughout his high school, he's 3 different schools. Like, he's a lot.
Yeah. So
like, this is just what you get, you know? It's like it's like South Florida recruiting. I mean, it's just
the SoFo wide receivers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the wait continues for Stokes. What's our next question? Jacob Polachek.
I don't understand this question, but
is Snapchat a dying app?
So I would like to take the lead on this and say that I turned off notifications on Snapchat a long time ago, and they are trying to get me. They will even text me to tell me to turn them back on, and I refuse to because it was the worst app about giving me notification. I hate notifications. I hate emails. I don't like Facebook's really bad about it too.
You hate.
Well, like, just if you need to tell me something, it's because somebody directly did something that I should. Not like some bullcrap. If I'm invited to an event, I should get a notification. I shouldn't get a notification for some AT&T ad Snapchat. Like, I don't need that. Get out of here. The one thing that is, like, you know, so I check it in frequently, but we are so worried about it dying. My wife, that was her primary videoing app for a long time. So we have a lot of memories of the kids and stuff. So she's in the process of like downloading stuff because some of them are great. Like, that's the best part of it now is seeing old Snapchats.
You can just pull it up and it'll show you all your memories from that day, like a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Like, so that part is pretty cool. I like it for that.
Yeah. I do think that just like apps are just taking over other ones. Like, the stories started to pull away at Snapchats towards Instagram. Now I'm glad that I've been TikTok free because I feel like Instagram is basically TikTok now, where I'm mostly seeing what I expect TikTok to be, but you know, there's some pictures sprinkled in there too.
Well, so, at least for me personally, like when I was in college, like Snapchat was huge. That's all we used essentially, stuff like that. But even now, like, I'm 30 now, and me and my fiance, we Snapchat at least once a day. Like, we find ways to send random stuff. It's usually animal related. Like, I work from home, she's working outside, so I'm sending pictures of what the animals are doing. And then I've got some friends, like I got a Snapchat group chat of friends that live out of state. So like every couple of days we snap each other, stuff like that, just to kind of keep in the loop. So, and I know, like, the kid that Terrence Brown he posted his Snapchat of him talking to Mark Pope. Yeah. So like, I think it's just a generational thing. Like, I don't think it's
just amazing you all use it. Like, I haven't opened Snapchat in probably 10 years. Like, it's been a long time. It's still on my phone, and I thought nobody used it anymore. And then I was visiting my family. I don't think they use the stories for it at all anymore. Yeah. I think it's just like a quick way, because honestly, it's a lot easier to send a Snapchat than just a like, when I'm taking a picture and having to send it through like the iMessage, that's actually a lot longer. Well, not longer, you know, it takes 15 seconds, but like Snapchat, I can do it in less than 5 seconds essentially. Like, so it's just a little bit quicker, a little bit easier to communicate just when you're doing pictures and videos.
There was a time too where kids exclusively, my cousin's probably 24 now, 25, but when he was in college, he would, like, that was his texting app basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which
that's still a thing.
So Jacob, you're not dead yet.
No, I mean, my nephews who are, let's see, 18 and 16, 19 and 16, maybe they use it all the time. And granted, they've got my sister, their mom has like parental access or whatever. So she can't see what they snap, but she can see who they snap. Which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I thought Snapchat was dead. So we're all learning something here on Happy Hour together. The chat is weighing in. MGNKNTKY says, I've used Snapchat like 10 times 10 years ago. Maddie G, I know that's you, and I'm not going to say your letters again, but yeah, I feel you. James Poole 2642 said, I've never had Snapchat, but I've been known to snapshots. I remember terrifying my husband one time a couple of years ago because Instagram stories, like when you screenshot a Snapchat, it tells the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that it does that with Instagram stories, and he got really freaked out because he does that a lot. And he was, he got super paranoid. And it's not like in a creepy way, but if he sees something that he thinks is interesting. But okay. Any more questions, or are we wrapping this one up?
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Oh, what are your projections for next year's roster in basketball to look like? Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I
No.
have zero idea. I'm sorry.
It's no
I
for
can't
me,
even
dog.
begin to answer that question.
Zoom Diallo, Malachi Marino,
Cam
Williams, Trent Noah, Reese Potter. I'll go with Alex Wilkins and Donnie Freeman. There's got to be somebody else, though. From there, I have no idea. So, do you all have
I really don't
anybody
either.
other than I just said that you feel strongly will be on this roster?
It's a no for me, dog.
Mason
No.
Williams. I forgot Mason Williams.
Oh, people forget
We'll
about
see what
that.
happens with Braden Hawthorne. I mean, he's still kind of in limbo right now, so that's an interesting
Yeah.
piece right there. But
I'm glad
Yeah,
you brought
it's,
that up because people, like, whenever we post those roster tracker graphics, people get really mad. They're like, Braden Hawthorne already said he's coming back. Well, he said it in a post-game locker room during the SEC tournament when
Reese Potter also said it, and then he had to send out a graphic last night to. So unless you see
Yeah.
the graphic, like that's how I knew for a fact that Braden Hawthorne is not decided one way or the other, or is not announced at least publicly, because Reese Potter said, like, he told KSR like a couple weeks ago that he was planning on coming back, but then when the graphic came out yesterday, that's when like, okay, now the deal's been signed, he's locked in to come back. So that's how I think you'll know, like. That's why I think Hawthorne is still in limbo there, and you won't know until he posts a graphic about it or says he's going to the portal or whatever. That's what you'll figure out. And like Logan's Wood
Jacob Polachek
says Hawthorne is waiting. Hawthorne probably is waiting to see how the roster shapes out a little bit, to see if he actually is even going to have a role on the team. So I'm sure he wants to actually play next season instead of getting redshirted again. So, and if that's going to be 2 minutes a game off the bench, why would he want to do that? So we'll see.
Right. And as Jacob Polachek reminds us, Jalen Lowe also said he was coming back, as did Andrea Yelovich. So
as did
lottery picks
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist
over the last
And
15 years.
yeah.
Like
DeMarcus Cousins. It happens. So.
Words don't always mean much. Actions.
Actions. And hopefully we'll be getting actions from Kentucky basketball's portal recruits who will hopefully be commitments by this time next week. Until then, thanks for another fun show, guys. Nick, go eat something and don't forget your beer at the grocery store.
Yep,
Zach, I'm glad we got your microphone situation figured out. That was kind of touch and go there for a minute, but that'll do it for another KSR Happy Hour. Shout out to everybody and go Cats.